Hi, and welcome to the Unhinged History Podcast, the podcast where two compulsive nerds are going to read history books, listen to the audiobooks, watch the documentaries, verbally assault their spouse with the knowledge they've only recently acquired, and then join forces once a week and tell each other what we've just learned. I'm host one, I'm Theresa, and that is host two.
I'm Angie.
Yeah, and welcome.
I'm using my phone to prop up my surface so I can better be at a better angle for my own viewing.
Oh, good.
What the hell is my problem?
I mean, I will say that despite that I've owned a Surface, every time you say I'm using this to prop up my Surface, I think surface of the desk,
Oh,
surface of
nope.
like I don't view that as a noun
Yeah, no, that's fair. I don't, but
or a
yeah,
proper
okay.
noun.
It's our, yeah. I'm sorry. I don't have
It,
another name for it.
no, it's just that this is a me thing. This is a me thing.
Here we are. That's a
Anyhow,
really pretty necklace that you have on.
thank you. It is a gift from technically passed down through family on husband's side.
Oh my God, so you actually did get jewelry and not like a foreskin?
Yeah, Angie's talking
Wow.
about how she got me a book called Napoleon's Privates, and it's just like celebrity body parts that have been passed down through history. And I did a whole series of it on TikTok, and yeah, like the tagline was, because some families hand down jewelry, other families hand down hands, and there's like a lot of penises in that. There's a lot of
Yeah.
penises in that book. So
Of
many
all the
penises.
things to save, okay, hair makes sense. I don't know why it makes sense, but it makes way more sense than a penis.
Okay, hair doesn't decompose in the same gross way. And
Maybe
still,
that's
like
why it makes sense.
Victorian mourning jewelry, you didn't typically make a pendant out of your spouse's dick.
I mean, there is a group of women that did. I can't remember. It was like an ancient group of women that did. But that was their means of mourning. They made a necklace out of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to say Pixar didn't happen. So if you are in the Patreon, I'm going to make Angie figure this out and share with the class because I'm sorry. What?
I know what my TikTok for tomorrow is gonna be.
Fair. Okay, but that's not, you did tell me I'm gonna sharp departure here because I think we both
Go.
have, things we want to do after the 3 hours it's gonna take to record this. Um, I've got a hell of a story for you.
Let's go.
Okay, so I didn't put who recommended the story, which is appalling. So stand by because this was not a Teresa found it herself. Ah, okay, this was recommended on Instagram by Sophia Hunt 318.
Go Sophia Hunt 318. By the way, Instagram, if you know who she reads is, would you send them a message for me?
You're really on that kick. That
I
person's
will
dead.
sit
That
on this
person is
forever.
not going to respond. That person, like having ran social media handles, they've lost the password themselves. They couldn't give it to you if they wanted to.
My understanding is I can reach out to Instagram.
Okay, then take it
That's
offline.
what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. Anyway, carry on.
All right.
Sorry.
My sources. There's a book, Transgender History, a resource for today's struggles and tomorrow's, the third edition by Susan Stryker. And you know it's legit when I say third edition. Now, Los
Yeah, we've
Angeles,
gone back and done more work.
exactly, twice. Uh, Los Angeles Public Library, they have a blog post, Compton Cafeteria Riot by Andrea Borchett or Borchert. The Guardian, Compton's Cafeteria Riot, a historic act of trans resistance 3 years before Stonewall by Sam Levin. And there is a Stuff You Missed in History class podcast episode as well. Ooh, oh, and the documentary Screaming Queens on PBS.
That sounds like an awesome documentary.
Oh, I had a hell of a time with this. So buckle up, Buttercup, because I've got a story for you.
Let's go.
Okay. Now, you're a Californian. How familiar are
Mhm.
you with San Francisco's Tenderloin?
I can tell you that I have once walked down the street there. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Um, the
And I hang out
Tenderloin.
at the pier.
Yeah, it's Tenderloin is a well-known area of San
Oh yeah, yeah,
Francisco.
no. Yeah, it's well known. It's where all the gay clubs are. Or were.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah.
I think Chappelle said he's never seen crack smoked so freely than he did in the Tenderloin. Like, I want to paint a picture, okay?
Yeah. That paints it all right.
Okay, now, well-established area of vice. Susan Stryker calls it out in her book, the transgender history. Now, one of the things she said is the definition of tenderloin. You know, you think of it as a cut of meat. The next definition down is a district within a city characterized by high rates of crime, vice, like gambling, prostitution, narcotics, and poverty.
So you're telling me there are other cities with tenderloins?
I'm saying there are other cities that could have districts called tenderloin because that is a
Okay.
common term.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so as for San Francisco, it had a red light district in that same area for years and years and years. As time goes on, we see the housing get more and more impacted. During World War II, we have families that are migrating to coastal cities for the wartime work. This is happening in San Francisco as well. This is driving up the housing costs. Trans women never stopped existing. They're struggling to get housing, routinely discriminated against on the basis of their looks, and they find themselves pushed more and more into this neighborhood.
Okay.
Compounding matters even more, on the stuff you missed in history class, they talk about how uh, if you were found to be homosexual in the military during World War II, you were given a what they called a blue discharge. And they typically processed a majority of those in San Francisco. So you're kicked out and processed in San Francisco. Now you're out of the military and in the city.
With like no place to go.
Yeah, so you're getting a
Right.
bigger concentration of people
This
from
makes
the
sense.
alphabet mafia. Okay. Now, as all of this is happening, there's reports of police that are reinforcing this zoning. They're either telling people from the alphabet mafia to go to the Tenderloin, or they're just straight up dropping them off in the neighborhood.
Oh, at least you get an Uber.
Yeah, you don't even have to open the back door. It's opened for you. At least that's kind. Now,
Only because the locks are on the outside.
I mean, amen. But continuing all of this, right? You have transgender women who they're limited in the work they can do in 40s, 50s, 60s, and very limited in the places they can live openly. In the 1960s, the few places that are open to transgender people is this Tenderloin district. Now,
Okay.
this is basically one of the few areas where you can find affordable housing. And if you cannot find work, sex work is an option. Many women that engaged in sex work, or if they didn't, they did housekeeping at hotels or places that catered to sex work.
Right. So either way, you're in that
You're in that
world.
community.
Yeah. Okay.
In the heart of this is this business called Gene Compton's Cafeteria, and it's commonly known as Compton's Cafeteria.
Okay.
And this would end up being the place of a riot.
Okay. This is so dumb, but when you said Compton's Cafeteria, all I could think of is, bro, you already did the Black Panther breakfast story.
I did the Black Panther breakfast story. I did the Black Knight Brawl.
Yeah. Where we go? Okay. Got it. Let's go. I'm
But
buckled.
okay, Gene Compton, not Compton, the area.
Compton, the person's last name.
Right. And it's I know it's weird because I did say Los Angeles blog, like Los Angeles Library was one of my sources, but they're writing about San Francisco,
No, this
not
checks.
Compton.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
there's room for confusion. Now, nobody knows the exact date of the Compton's Cafeteria riot. In fact, if it wasn't for Dr. Susan Stryker, writer of one of the books that's my source, this event might have been completely forgotten.
Wild. Okay.
Okay. Now, here's the whole deal. You ready for the too long don't read? As a trans historian, she's rifling through the Gay and Lesbian Historical Society archives in 91, and she stumbles on this timeline.
Hold on. Back up.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so sorry. There is a gay and lesbian archive somewhere, like in San Francisco.
Unclear of location. I didn't realize that was going to be a question. I'll
That is
circle back
so
to you on
cool.
that. Yeah, either way, physical archive.
That's so cool. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Like
no,
that
please. I
scratches
mean,
my brain.
yes. Now, she stumbles on this timeline of historic events that reference August 1966. And it's, quote, drag queens protest police harassment at Compton's cafeteria, unquote.
I need you to know that I'm pretty sure I have the best visual I have ever had.
Good, good. Because same,
Okay.
same. Now, the file has basically no additional information.
Oh, I mean, because really, we just covered it with our own brains. We
Y-
don't need actual
Whatever you
information.
imagined, presto
Yeah.
changeo, you're done. Moving on here.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now, it took Stryker years to figure out what happened because she is one of us. One of us. Now, a city archivist told her that there were no arrest reports, that the records, quote, had been disappeared,
Oh, was
right?
Hoover involved?
I don't think so, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, but a
Yeah.
Hoover-esque individual seems to be in the background here. So she has to slowly compile her own paper trail.
Okay.
And she learns how the corner of Turk and Taylor Streets, where there was this place called Compton's Cafeteria, was basically trans central, and how eventually she's going to go on to meet people like a woman named Amanda St. James, who's a trans woman who lived in a hotel in the area and was present at the riot.
Okay.
She goes on, finds a bunch of other people who were present there, and she compiles their story in a documentary called Screaming Queens. And this includes archival footage of the fear-mongering news reports that describe the Tenderloin as, quote, a hotbed of homosexuals and transvestites to engage in the marketplace of vice, degradation, and human misery.
And they're literally just in there painting their nails, minding their own damn business.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Just living a Tuesday.
Yep.
And they talk about how there were, quote, screaming queens who fought at Compton's, which was a local diner.
I love this. It's giving Waffle House.
Honestly,
It's giving drag queen run Waffle House, and I'm so here for it.
hold on to that visual because
Okay.
everything I say from here on out is only going to make things so, so much better.
I love this for me.
Now, woman named Persona remembers things dramatically differently. She's around 17 when she hopped on a Greyhound bus to go from San Jose to San Francisco, and she would end up being a regular at Compton's cafeteria.
Okay.
Now, Persona, she would go on to say they were the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. Now, she's raised in a large Mexican family with a Baptist minister father. So, this whiplash,
Okay.
right?
That's a very different cultural connection I'm making.
Yeah.
Right.
So she gets there and she's like, I'm home in a way I just felt like I was in Wonderland. They took care of me like big sisters. They were just so sweet to me and to each other.
That's sort of the image I've always gotten.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
I've never seen a mean drag queen. Never.
not to someone like us. If you deserve the wrath of a drag queen, you deserve a
You've
lot more.
deserved it. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like if you're minding your business, you're doing your thing.
I mean,
Get it, queen. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like
If a
they're gonna go
drag
about
queen
their
is at you,
business.
you had it coming.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I've never
Yeah.
seen one involved in something that it wasn't warranted.
Hmm. So now, Compton's Cafeteria. This is a haven for members of the transgender community. And it was all the way in the 40s up until when it closed in 72. It's open 24 hours a day, and it served as a safe space off the streets for transgender people, drag queens, gender non-conforming individuals. But There's harassment, improper arrest, police violence, ongoing issues for the LGBTQIA community, even within the Tenderloin.
Is this when the mafia comes in?
There's no mafia in this one.
Damn it.
That was strictly
Okay.
Stonewall, which still incredible.
Just
Now,
seemed fitting that that's when they would enter the picture.
it did. And honestly, that would have been a perfect segue. And had it been there, I would have been right this way.
Walk this way.
Yeah. But it's during this time we have transgender women, primarily women, because oftentimes, from what I understand, this is me speaking out of turn, transgender men tended to just kind of disappear and try to pass or into the community. Transgender women had a harder time just folding into the mix. And so as a result, needed to band together a bit more.
Yeah, okay.
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 And so when it was explained like that, I was like, yep, following right along. Didn't question a dang
Mm-hmm.
thing. So transgender women are often arrested for trivial crimes that included female impersonation or obstructing the sidewalk.
Oh, how dare
So
you?
just
Just be on the
taking up
sidewalk.
space.
This checks.
They're typically or they're regularly harassed, assaulted, and even demeaned by the police.
This
And
also checks.
in a lot of the research, it goes into even more details. I'm glossing over it. I'm sure we can all use our imaginations.
Yeah.
Now, trans women talked in the documentary about their struggles as sex workers in the neighborhood, and they found huge relief at Compton's. Surprise, surprise. The women tended to face intense violence from clients, police, and they would end up going and checking on each other and hanging out at the restaurant.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
was it was the community hub. It was like, "Oh, you're still alive. Okay, great. You're safe. I see you. Let's have coffee."
Let's get a milkshake.
Right.
I bet they made hella good milkshakes there.
We'll share some fries. We'll talk about our night.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Tenderloin, it's 2 miles from the famous Castro gayborhood. And the Castro is this it has long attracted white gay men. And in some ways is kind of safer for women, but police tend to bother the women everywhere they go.
What?
Yeah, flies in the face of the fragile masculinity.
Hmm. Yes, this checks. Okay.
So, meanwhile, Compton's refuge, because it's got the location, open 24 hours, but the ownership isn't exactly enamored with the clientele.
Okay.
Now, you're giving me the eyebrow, but I kind of understand. I can see the owner's point of view here. Patrons, they might end up coming in for a single cup of coffee and sit for hours. So this doesn't allow the tables to turn quickly.
So the money's not being made.
So the money's not being made. And so this causes a fairly antagonistic relationship. And in a lot of the sources, it talks about how they would try to pass on a service charge. You know, if you're going to take up the table, we're going to charge you a rent. And that
Yeah,
makes
okay.
sense. The problem is it's not fairly applied across the board. It's just tacked on to people who look the part.
Okay.
So it's kind of a pain in the ass charge. And it's
Yeah,
only,
okay.
yeah. And so that causes
Not everybody gets it, only the
mhm.
favor. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So that causes a bit of issue. They do
Shocked.
some protests and yeah, sometimes it's dropped. I don't know. It sounds not necessarily good. And sometimes the owners would do things like call the cops when they just didn't want to deal with people. Like, hey, you've been sitting here too
Okay.
long. Please come pick her up. So
Right.
this sounds lovely. Now, with the discrimination against the transgender women and ongoing police brutality, there's a couple of things brewing in the background in the queer community. There's also this part of the culture of political activism, which is endemic in the 1960s. So they're starting to organize into political groups to protest the harassment and to start advocating for their own civil rights.
Right. Okay.
On top of this, Christine Jorgensen has already hit the papers.
Right. This, but yeah, okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's happening. There's, ongoing talk about medical treatment that's available to the trans community as well. So we have all of that going on in the background, which is quite a
Okay.
lot when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're going to go to likely, because we don't know the date of the riot, Sunday, August 28th, 1966.
Okay.
It's our best guess. It's late at night. We have two uniformed officers. They walk into a packed Compton's. Now, Compton's holds 166 patrons.
Okay.
It's a big restaurant when you think of it. Now, with that in mind, these cops head directly over to a table of queens. And I'm going to use the phrasing that's used in all the documentaries. Yes, a lot of the phrasing has changed. I am using the parlance of the time.
Okay, go. I'm here for it.
I know you are, but I'm saying future people isolate these sound bites. This is your disclaimer. Do what you will.
Yeah, okay.
Now, the police, they're looking for a woman who isn't there. They can see clearly that she's not there, but she'd caused an issue recently, and they start harassing the other women. One of the women. This woman,
Silly.
I know, she is not going to have it. She responds by throwing a hot cup of coffee in the officer's face.
Okay.
One of the other women at the table, well, she takes her sugar shaker and she slaps him upside the head with it. Well, literally knocks him in the head. Both
Okay, so
cops
when
go
you say
down.
sugar shaker and you're talking about a drag queen, it could have been her butt or the actual sugar shaker. So,
Ooh.
uh,
Well,
the
she threw what her
visual I
mama
had
gave
was
her.
amazing. Yikes.
Um, Not really, but both officers they go down. Now, this is where things erupt because dishes are getting smashed, tables are being flipped, and people are breaking the plate glass windows.
Oh, who pays that bill?
Unclear. The officers are chased into the street,
Yeah.
and one report claims that they heard sirens filling the air way too soon for the police to have called for backup. This was suggesting that they had planned a raid by the police force.
Oh, nice.
Now, as the police force gathers, street fights break out on Turk and Taylor. The neighborhood bars empty, and the residents enter the brawl.
So we're just looking for something to do on a random Sunday night.
Yeah, and drag queens
Okay.
are using their purses and pointy stiletto heels to beat the cops.
That a girl. Ian would love this story. Anytime somebody uses a stiletto heel as a weapon is like high on his list of badass ladies.
So you think of all the ensuing chaos. There's chairs, dishes being tossed outside, police car windows are being broken in, and a newsstand is lit on fire.
Okay, okay.
So eyewitness accounts place citizens and police totaling several hundred people.
I love this. Oh, I would have loved to been in the check-in line at the jail that night with all these drag queens.
Be like, I'm here for jaywalking, but I like my luck.
What are you here for?
I know.
Look at your nails. Oh my God, I'd be in
Girl, we've got
heaven.
to talk about eyeshadow because however you did that, I need to know. That cut
Your
crease,
complexion?
incredible.
Yep. That is, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I cannot take any moment of my life serious. I would be having the best night.
Yeah. There's ongoing protests and skirmishes with police that would continue on for several days.
Yes, get 'em.
And remember how I said they broke the plate glass windows at Compton's that night?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
The skirmishes caused them to re-break the windows at Compton's.
Maybe you should just put some tape up for now. Wait
Yeah,
till it's
maybe
over.
it's just plywood for a little bit. We got to figure our stuff out.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, the Compton's Cafeteria Riot is going to go on to prove to be a milestone for LGBTQIA rights and the San Francisco community history. Because following the riot, positive changes would occur in the Tenderloin for the transgender community. There's continued political activism from the queer community that ushered in federal relief through path-breaking work that would redefine the Tenderloin as a disadvantaged community. And this is huge because a large majority of the trans people there are white. And so
Okay.
typically the communities getting these funds are more ethnically
Mixed.
diverse as opposed
Yeah.
to, you know, diverse from the gender background.
Right.
This redefining made the area eligible for anti-poverty support like job training or additional schooling. And allies would help the advocates or help to advocate to change laws like repealing the cross-dressing law in 1974 or the formation of the Center for Special Problems, which was a unit of the San Francisco Department of Public Health that offered some of the nation's first social services to transgender people. And the creation for transsexual counseling unit to create new ID cards for gender nonconforming people. That is huge. Because if you looked like a woman and went to go get a job and they said, hand me your license and it says Robert Anderson,
Right.
you're
Right.
not getting that role because it looks like you either stole that ID or whatnot.
Right. But Robert Anderson's looking like Pam Anderson and things aren't going great.
Right. So the downside is if you have one of these ID cards, now you're outing yourself as being a member of the community, but you have an ID that matches your gender.
Right. M
So
matches with how you're
how you're
identifying.
presenting. Yeah.
Right.
So it's the best of a bad situation kind of deal. And then in 2019, the area around the original Compton's cafeteria is now known as Compton's Transgender Cultural District. This is the first,
Wow.
right? I
That's
had no
super
idea.
cool. I would have never guessed it.
It is the first legally recognized transgender district in the world to memorialize the groundbreaking history of a local area.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm still thinking about sitting in jail with a bunch of queens and kind of upset that I've never been around a bunch of queens.
And you probably wouldn't have been. And this is probably part of the issue, right? Because if or when the queens were picked up at this time period, they were, because their ID said male, they were taken to a male jail. Now, if you have
Right.
breasts and no facial hair, you're going to be victimized at this jail. While there, many of these women were forcibly shaved, which is
Mm.
not something you would want. And if they wouldn't submit to being shaved, they were put in solitary confinement.
I'd take that, honestly.
You
Put
know
me in
what?
solitary because at least you're safe there.
And give me some space by myself.
You're telling me three hots on a cot and I get to be by myself for a few days.
I mean, to you and I, this sounds like vacation. We would pay for that. But, I think it's that whole, as soon as you're told that you have no choice, you're like, oh, crap.
Yeah, no, no, I want it to be entirely on my decision. I'm
Hmm.
going to leave when I'm done here.
I have finished my book. I would like another.
Oh, and there's no library. I gotta.
Yeah, that would be a rough day. But I mean, but beyond that, the entire like this being a breaking point and a moment 3 years before Stonewall.
That is crazy because in my mind, I'm picturing it long after Stonewall.
But
I don't know why. It's in the
this was
80s.
one of the things that kind of like, and there's even some incidences that I learned about prior to this one.
That's cool. So our friends in this community have been fighting this. For us, it almost seems like a quiet battle because it's been so long happening, right?
But
Like,
yeah, and not only has it been so long happening, but you think about Stonewall is why we have Pride, which is basically why
right,
we have gay rights in general, like the
right.
marriage equality and things like that. And that all happened because of trans people and the
That are
trans
just
movement.
like trying to live their life.
Right. And so you look at the Tenderloin and they're like, look, we have a bunch of people here that are suffering from poverty or homelessness or all of these things, bunch of, ethnically diverse people and trans, and we're all together. We're going to use intersectionality to advance the goals of everybody here. And it was basically led by a
Yes.
bunch of queens.
I love that. That's awesome.
Hmm.
I'm here for that. Get it, sisses. How do you say multiples? Get it, sisses?
At Queens, get it, Queens. I think that works.
Okay. Go
Yeah,
Queens. Yes. I'm here for it. I'm
but
snapping.
that's the story of the Compton Cafeteria Riot.
I love it. Thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I'm going to take you to a wildly different century.
I had a feeling we very rarely play in the same century.
And I was considering not starting by showing you this, but I feel like it's required. So allow me to share my screen really with you real quick. Do you know this woman?
Okay, she is showing me someone with a rather nonchalant face. The face is what you notice first, but you feel weird that you notice the face first because she's wearing an eye patch. She has pearl earrings and she has the big neck cover that is not coffee
Ruff?
filters, but is what I would use coffee filters to make.
Yeah. Okay. Here, so there's that one. Let me show you one more picture because I just love it so much.
Okay. Another image, same woman, same nonchalant stare, same eye patch. She has a very big hat on with plumage.
It's her shepherdess outfit.
Plunging neckline. She is cl like lifting a rose very delicately from a bouquet from her other hand.
Yeah. Okay. So I wasn't going to show you that. I was just going to tell you her story, but I felt like you needed to see her before I told you her story.
I mean, I know, I don't think I would have imagined her, but now I can't wait to hear about her.
Yeah, I need you to see her first because that's how I learned about her. So there is this woman on Instagram that I have followed forever. She is this phenomenal seamstress. Her name is Asta Darling. And on top of being a phenomenal seamstress, she is also a cosplayer and does some really, really amazing things. And several weeks ago, somebody asked her, or she framed it this way, what her favorite historical character to cosplay as is, because she does a lot of like the Versailles events and things like that. And that first picture is the one she shared, and I was like, my God, man, I must know everything.
Yeah, no,
So,
any baddie in an eye patch, you've got my full undivided attention.
right. Okay, so my caveat. There is not a ton of information in English on her, so I had to scour the internet.
I thought you were going to say, so I had to learn Austrian.
I've been busy, okay? I'm learning Arabic.
Yeah, the
Her
last
name,
week on Duolingo.
yeah, pretty much. Her name is Anna de Mendoza, and my sources are the Ebesco, EBSCO, um,
The
Daily Art,
Ebesco as opposed to EBSCO?
Ebesco. I, whatever.
Did
I
you
think
add a
pronounce it
vowel?
however you want.
Okay.
EBSCO, whatever.
Okay,
I like them.
carry on. They are good.
Yeah,
I used them last week.
yeah, right. Okay, so Daily Art magazine has a beautiful write-up about her called "Rebellious Princess of Eboli." There is a JSTOR article which I absolutely loved and wish this entire article was a book. It is the from fall 2018 of early modern women. The article is called Pushing Boundaries: Women, Music, and the Life of Ana de Mendoza y de la Soreda, Princess of Ibelay by Ascensión Mazula Anguita.
Wait, did you say princess?
I did.
Okay.
Princess of Ibelay. That article was amazing, and if it could just be turned into a book, I would love it. So I'm just gonna start off by telling you that one of my favorite things about specifically women's history is that women's history is not written like men's history, right? Like we don't have volumes on the Princess Diaboli like we have for Caesar, right? Like it just doesn't happen, right?
Right.
But what we do have, and I think this is really special, is everyday things, right? So we learn about women from the 16th century by receipt books and like Book of Hours and like their day to day, which I think makes them more human.
Less
Um,
very flowery, less. Yeah.
right.
It's not as
Like
inflated. You get the real
Yes,
stuff.
that's my opinion of it. And in her case, because her story doesn't have a ton of sources, but it does, she has a broad range of people that she deals with, and you can see her life through their life. So it's a really interesting, like you have these receipt books, you have these like orders of hours for the house, and then you have these other very powerful, very influential people that she is day to day interacting with. So you see her life in those things, and it's so interesting to me. So I guess it's why people say choose your friends wisely, because eventually you might be in the history books as an aside to somebody else's story.
Yeah. Yeah. You want your
Right?
friends to destroy your receipt books as opposed to publish them.
Right. So, our girl, Ana de Mendoza y de la Cerda, is born into one of the most powerful and loaded families of her time, the Mendozas. Her dad is Diego Hurtado de Mendoza, and he is the Viceroy of Aragon and Catalonia. She is his only legitimate child who makes it to adulthood.
Atta girl.
Right? Okay. Now, she is actually given the last name Silva when she's baptized, but according to historian James M. Bowden, she later switches to the de Mendoza de la Sierra because that's what she has to use in order to claim her Countess of Melito title. I'm not clear why that matters,
I
but
mean,
you got to use the right name.
titles come with land. I would
Right,
change
but
my name to Brittany if it gave me a castle.
I mean, honestly, same girl. Now, for her most day-to-day life, she's just Anna de Mendoza. She likes to keep it simple. It has been suggested that the young Anna was actually educated by her mother. I'm There's varying versions of her name, and it makes me think it's just that her name was so long that each uses a part of her name, but EBSCO calls her Catalina de Silva.
You won't even say
Now,
it out loud anymore.
yeah, it's
Sorry.
like so long, it's ridiculous. But anyway, okay, so she, Miss de Silva, is the owner of a rather large library,
Oh,
and
yes.
she is a woman celebrated for her intelligence. And there is this understanding that her aunt Maria de Mendoza is also heavily involved in her education. And honestly, I love that. Now, you have her mom and her aunt, who are both wonderfully educated and wonderfully connected. Now, let me side quest here for a second and tell you about her grandmother, because these women ball. Like, they don't play around. There is a ducal palace in Pastrana. Her grandmother, also a widow, has bought, I didn't know you could do this, the Castilian town of Pastrana from the Order of Calatrava in 1536. And she commissions this grand Renaissance palace. Did you know you could just buy a whole city from an order of people?
Here's why I couldn't. Because I would have to ask the price. And if you have to ask, you can't afford.
Yeah, she didn't need to ask.
She
She's,
just said, all right, move
where's my
along.
checkbook, darling? Now, because I was curious, what is the Order of Calatrava? It is one of four Spanish military orders. It was the first Hispanic military religious order. It was founded in the 12th century during the Reconquista. Its role was sort of in the defense and the expansion of the Christian territory in this region. It combines together a military life as well as a monastic one, so I'm thinking this is really similar to the Knights Templar.
Okay.
Right? Anyway, so they have this town, and I don't know, Grandmama's just driving by one day in her carriage, and she's like, "Oh, I think I'll take this," and she just buys it, and then builds a glorious palace there. Now, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but there will come a point in Anna's story where she and her husband inherit the town,
Ah,
and they set out to make it a multicultural Renaissance hub. From the JSTOR article by author Missoula Anguita, quote, the princess and her husband took possession of the town on March 27, 1569, and were welcomed with an event organized by the city councilor for which two trumpets, eight wind players were brought from Alicia de Hanas. The princess, frequently in the absence of her husband, organized festivities including music, dancing, procession, tournaments with the preparation of the inhabitants, including Morescos from Granada, who introduced the silk industry to Pastrana, as well as merchants and craftsmen from Italy, Flanders, and Portugal. Thus, music served as a means of social integration for this international and multicultural community. So, her family is doing the thing,
And it sounds
right?
like an incredible party.
Right. Um, that was just to fill your head with two very seemingly random side quests, but I promise it matters. Back to Anna's life. There's little we know about her childhood other than she is educated, she is brilliant, she is most definitely stubborn, and, shall we say, a bit unruly. But she is also gorgeous and the only legitimate child of her father's. So it's around our preteen years that our girl starts wearing this iconic black eye patch. And the
And I'm
thing is,
assuming it's not for giggles.
maybe it is. No one knows why.
What?
Some suggest that she was severely injured when falling off her horse. Doctors today have even gone back and like looked at the paintings to see if there's anything that they could glean about what sort of injury could have caused this eye patch. And the only thing that I've heard that sounds like any sort of a reasonable assumption is that one of her eyebrows sits lower than the other one. But also, we're
Same on
looking
me.
at same, and we're looking at paintings. They're not photos, they're paintings. So, anyway, others say no, she lost her eye in a duel. Like, perhaps she challenges a servant and things get a little out of hand. Or perhaps it's just aesthetic. Maybe she just liked it. Or maybe she had a lazy eye and because she's this gorgeous noble girl, she needed to hide it. But
Right?
honest to God, I think she's just doing it for the plot. Like, that's my opinion of her. But there's really no like 100 proof we know that this is what happened with her, right? Anyway, she loves the rumors, so here we are. At least I think she loves the rumors. When she is 13, she enters into a marriage contract with a man called Rui Gomez de Silva, who is like the secretary slash counselor slash favorite to the Crown Prince of Spain, Prince Philip.
Okay.
So, like, not a terrible match for her, right? There are some sources that say they don't consummate the marriage for up to 6 years, which makes my heart happy because she was
Yeah,
only
because she was
13 when the
13.
contract was signed.
Right.
Right. Um, there was one YouTube video that I was able to find in English, but I don't really know what their sources are. But that video seemed to believe that it not only did it take a couple of them for a couple of years for them to actually act as a married couple, but the part of her marriage contract was stipulated that she was to remain with her family for an additional 2 years before she even went to live with him.
Good.
I'm not I'm not 100% on that because I didn't see that in any other sources, but I think it's interesting to note that if that is accurate. Regardless, her husband is gone for much of the time of those years anyway because he is traveling with the prince while he tours England and the Netherlands. So
Makes it
she's
hard
with
to
her family.
consummate if he's out of the country.
Yeah, she is with her family, but because she is obviously part of this royal entourage, she is at court. And her husband's position at court, as he benefits, so does she, and she would eventually become the close friend to Queen Isabel Valois, the daughter of Catherine de' Medici.
But I say Valois, like, yeah, I know
Right?
that line. Or yeah.
Right? Such a fun connection, and I swear I'm going to do a deep dive on her one day. But anyway, Anna is a huge patron of music. It seems both the secular nature and like the religious liturgy. What is really interesting to me is that we know a lot of this based on what she's doing in her ducal seat of Pastrana that I mentioned earlier. Um, and like I also mentioned earlier, we know a lot of this because of like receipts and financial documents of the day. So I think that's super cool. Now, she is super involved in court life. Like, she's involved in all of these festivities, in the music, in the dancing, and she is also pushing out babies when they eventually do start living as man and wife. In her lifetime, she gives birth 10 times,
Good night.
with at least six that survive
Those are
childhood.
great odds.
I know. Now, to fuel the rumor mill for a second, sources say that both she and her husband were really close to the royal, like to the king and queen, because now Prince Philip is now King Philip, and her husband is still serving as his secretary. And they're very close in proximity to the royal family, and they're also like really good friends. There is this deep-seated belief that perhaps at least one of her children is not her husband's making, but rather King Philip's.
Okay.
So you with that what you will. Nobody knows for 100% sure, but that's around the rumor mill, you know? Now, after the queen dies, both Anna and her husband sort of retreat from the main court life to their estate in Pastrana. What I'm not clear on here is that her grandmother had literally bought the city, but the now King Philip has rewarded her husband with the title of Duke of Pastrana. So I'm assuming he just hands out titles. They already own the city. Hire the Duke now. Like, that's what I
Maybe.
think
Yeah, I
happened,
have no idea.
right?
I never had a title. I don't know how this works.
Unclear, but that's what I sort of think happened. Now, during the couple's time, our girl is also going to bear the title of Princess of Eboli. Her and her husband have funded and founded several religious institutions like monasteries, convents. In fact, one of the monasteries actually has tunnels from their palace into the monastery. Like,
Yes, I want that. Moving
right?
bookshelves and tunnels.
The whole thing. She funds a Carmelite college. Then, at her request, the very celebrated mystic and sister of the time, later to be Saint Teresa of Avila, establishes a religious community there. But things are not going great right now. She's mourning the loss of her friend, the Queen, and the very next year, in 1573, her husband dies. Things aren't great. And at this point, it's fair to say that her dear old father has mostly been out of the picture for a while. He has gotten into some trouble and needed to leave. Um, but all the while, she is kept in very close contact with her family, either through letters or because they're nearby. Like family is always around. So when her husband dies, her and her mother do the fashionable thing widowed women did during the Renaissance, and they retreat to one of the convents that she's founded.
Ah, yes. That old move.
It all goes to hell in a handbasket from there. Going back to the JSTOR article by Missoula and Gita, quote, indeed, the princess was accused of disrupting life in the cloister, and Teresa of Avila asked the king to intercede to return the princess to secular life. She then left the convent and returned to her palace. A 17th century chronicle points out that the hermitess Catalina de Cardona, who
This
counted on,
this is
yeah,
where you got the word hermitess. Okay,
yes, I was like, what?
for those playing at home, last night I get a text saying, "Did side quest, did you know hermitess was a job title that you could have gone for?" And then you said you'll never forgive your high school counselor.
Again, yeah, no,
Yeah.
still mad about it. I could have been a black market maple syrup dealer or a hermitess, and no one told me. But anyway, this hermitess counted on the princess's favor. She visits Pestron in 1573, and she's like, "Hey, Anna, probably you should leave the cloister. Like, you should go back to regular life.
You're really bad at this. You sleep through hymns.
You're not great at
You're
this
drunk
quiet
at
life."
evening song.
So, the other article by Ebesco says has this to say about the events, quote, largely as a result of this agreement, Anna has a failure to follow the strict seclusion rules. Teresa and her nuns abandon the convent and Pastrana in the dead of night. At the
Wait,
same time,
they get the nuns to evacuate?
they're like, we can't deal with this crap anymore. Bye.
Wow.
Yeah. At the same time, royal authorities insisted that the princess leave the convent in order to administer to her estate for her children. Now, here's the thing. Supposedly, the king is not so keen on her returning to actual court life. For whatever reason. Maybe they were former lovers and he's just still beefy. Like, whatever the reason, the king's not keen on it. But that's exactly what she does in 1576.
So, wait a
And
minute. Let me
like,
test my understanding. We've already decided that she was such a party girl that the Teresa of Avila, literal saint, took all of her nuns and they skedaddled so that the king could retrieve her. And then the king's like, yeah, but I don't want her around either.
pretty much.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're connecting those
Yeah.
dots, that both sides are
I
like,
don't, yeah,
not
I
it.
don't know that at the time. I mean, I guess for Teresa it would be party girl, but I think it was just that she could not just live the cloistered life. Like she still wanted to have festivities and she still wanted to listen to secular music on top of the religious music. And Teresa and the nuns were like, we can't keep doing this.
We can't keep playing Led Zeppelin at full blast.
The nightly song does not want Led Zeppelin. Um, but whatever the reason, she makes it back to court in 1576 and she starts this, we'll call it a friendship with another of the king's secretaries, who also happens to have been her late husband's dear friend as well, called Antonio Perez. Historians can't agree, but to this day, but it is possible that there was an affair. Now,
Her husband's
regardless of the
dead. That should have been
her
allowed.
husband,
That should have been on the table.
it should have been on the table, but I don't know if Perez is married. But
Oh,
either way, her cavorting with him is not great for the king. And also, as an aside, while she is in the convent, she has been reading all sorts of new thoughts and literature, and she's real mouthy about it, and the king doesn't really like what she's saying.
okay. Okay.
So there's that. But like regardless of the truth of the rumors about their affair on the water cooler, it doesn't go great for her because Anna and Perez are implicated in this plot to murder a man called Juan de Escobedo. He is a secretary of Philip's and the half brother of Don Juan of Austria.
That's a non-starter right there. Don't be
Yeah,
involved in plots to murder, especially if you're running your mouth.
yeah. Her role in this plot has never really come to light, but a year after their murder, both she and Perez are arrested. One of two things or both are possible. She may have spilled some secrets, and she may have like the idea of her openly speaking new ideas that the king doesn't like may have played a role in this. It's possible she did both, and he just really needs to get rid of her. It's also possible he is still harboring some ill will as they are former lovers. Who really knows? But the gist is, King needs to handle her. What we do know is that eventually Perez manages to remove himself from the king's vengeance and goes on to live like this full life of adventure. But Anna
About to
is
say there's a
confined
but.
to, yeah, she is confined to increasingly restrictive imprisonment. She is eventually moved to her home in Pastrana under this like permanent house arrest. Um, but like Sis kept up her musical activities and spending. Like there's a receipt of her buying one of her musicians' fiance's a dress. Like we know this today during this time. So she's like really not living her life any different than she was. She just can't leave home. Which honestly, okay, I'll stay here. Thank you. Um, eventually, like I said, he's increasingly restricting her imprisonment. Eventually, she's going to be basically walled up in possibly one, maybe two of her rooms. And I
Oof.
say walled up in the sense that the king even has her windows boarded up so she can't feel the sunlight.
Okay, yeah, no thank you.
Yeah. By the end of 1591, early 1592, she isn't even allowed to have contact with her children, including her daughter that's there with her, is my understanding. And if she was able to have contact with anybody, it might have been her, but she had one daughter that stayed to attend to her. And I'm not clear if that daughter was removed from the picture, but regardless, she has had no contact with anybody.
Oof.
Um, she dies in February. We actually have her death date as well, February 2nd of 1592. Her legacy today resides in the contribution to the music of her time and the many significant roles like of power her children go on to have. And like if the king's goal was to silence her and keep her story out of the books, it didn't work because she's everywhere, just only in Spanish. And so that's the story of
Okay.
Anna de Mendoza.
I had no idea, had never seen the pictures, but now I need to know everything.
Right? Like I scoured the internet. I was like, there has to be some like badass articles about her. And like I said, the JSOR article is amazing. Um, and I found a couple of other good ones, but like it was like an art history article because her paintings are, as you saw, incredible.
Iconic.
right? And she sat for many paintings. Like if those are just the two that I like just showed you, but there are tons more. Um, and I also just want to point out, I think it's really funny that powerful women in this like 200, 300 time year range really went through this great shepherdess phase, and we all have to have our country girl photo. And I just love that.
So what I'm hearing is I need to adopt a little shepherd girl dress and
Yeah,
then get that painted and then
yeah,
wage a holy war where I'm playing my
yes,
loud music, chasing nuns out of the convent.
yes.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I gotta go get off this thing because I've apparently got a full list of things I need to
you've
do.
got things to do. You've got a checklist you've got to attend to.
And if you also need to pull together a shepherdess dress,
And an eye
send this
patch.
and get an eye patch and wage hell, chase a bunch of nuns out of a convent, send this to somebody who would chase nuns out of a convent. And on that note, goodbye.
Bye.